Once upon a time, you were a villain, Mom.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're holding the magic mirror up to Regina Mills, aka the Evil Queen's story arc in Once Upon a Time, and conjuring up the tweaks we believe better suited her narrative. We are talking plot points, so if you're yet to watch the series in its entirety, there will be spoilers.
I can't wait to see what's in store for me next.
The character you know. As has become the trend in modern times, Once Upon a Time throws in its thoughts on a matter that puzzled many for a while.
Evil isn't born, it's made.
That certainly seems to be true in Regina's case. Flashbacks show us that power, control, and life on the royal throne were far from what Regina wanted as a young woman.
Why can't I just be myself?
Oh, because you can be so much more if you just let me help you.
I don't care about status. I just want to be...
All she wanted was her happily ever after with Daniel, the man she loved. Unfortunately, her mother, Cora, was more concerned with her own social climbing than her daughter's happiness, bringing that relationship to a permanent end.
Your magic can't keep us apart. I love him.
And I love her.
And I love her too.
If you loved me, you wouldn't try to keep us apart.
And if you loved me, you wouldn't try to run away.
I'm sorry, but this is my happiness.
When Cora crushed Daniel's heart, she effectively crushed Regina's too. Could this have been avoided if Snow White had kept her promise and stayed silent? Perhaps, but Snow was just a child trying to help. However, this mistake unleashes Regina's vengeful side, giving her vendetta against Snow more depth than jealousy over being the fairest in the land.
Are you mad?
No. I'm not mad at all. You were just trying to help me.
Driven by rage, Regina causes countless casualties in her quest to destroy Snow White.
What shall we do now, Your Majesty?
Kill them all. No mercy. Find me, Snow White.
She eventually gets her revenge by casting the curse that brings everyone to Storybrooke. Unbeknownst to her, Rumpelstiltskin had his own agenda, steering her towards casting the curse, knowing it would ultimately end her reign.
You will not cast the curse. Someone else will.
He even directed her to adopt the Saviour's son. When the curse breaks and everyone regains their memories, they come after Regina.
You took everything from us, and now?
What? Now you're gonna kill me.
Eventually. But first you need to suffer.
Listening to you has been enough suffering for all of us.
But in Storybrooke, new villains are constantly emerging, so Regina becomes yesterday's news. The heroes realise they can harness her power for good. Although at first she's somewhat reluctant, she soon genuinely puts all her efforts into changing for the better.
Everyone out there is scared and confused. They need hope. What better way to do that than to return united? You're coming with us. I know you don't like it, you'll learn too. For our good, for yours.
It definitely gives her one of the series' most compelling story arcs as we watch her rediscover that light that her mother had extinguished all those years ago. We even see her go as far as literally separating from her evil half. Love also comes along once more, and he helps Regina see who she truly wants to be.
Full of stories about heroes and villains. Guess which column I'm in.
This book is about the past. Like you said, you're not the evil queen anymore.
We still can't forgive the writers for taking Robin away. By the season 6 finale, Regina is accepted as one of the heroes.
Season 7 is tricky to judge, as Regina spends a good part of it believing she's a bar owner named Ronnie.
Yet, even when she remembers her true self, her heroic spirit remains strong.
So if this is how I have to go out, showing you that there are people in the world that love you no matter what you do, oh, then that's a worthy end for me.
By the series finale, the entire fairy tale world recognises she's earned her place as a queen and crowns her as such. It's a fascinating journey from the evil queen to the good queen, but could it have been even more?
I now crown you the Good Queen. Long may she reign.
where it went wrong. One of the key themes running throughout the series is understanding how villainy is created, and another is showing that if someone can turn evil, they can also find their way back to goodness. Perhaps no one is more emblematic of this than Regina. However, her journey feels a bit lacking, as any healing process isn't linear.
You were a villain, Mom. But you've changed. You're a hero now. And defeating bad guys is what heroes do. I believe in you. Now you need to believe too.
Regina has a lot of amends to make. She did so much damage as the evil queen, and much of it might be considered unforgivable.
Why are they loyal to her and not me? I am their queen.
You did just slaughter an entire village. Maybe that's why they call you the evil queen.
Yet the heroes are surprisingly quick to let bygones be bygones. We get it, they're supposed to be the clear-cut divisions between heroes and villains, but it's hard to see how they could so easily forgive and forget.
You're the hero, and I'm the villain. Free will be damned. It's all in the book, and we both know how it plays out.
Regina spends much of the series grappling with the boundaries of good and bad, and occasionally, her past does come back to haunt her. But there aren't really many serious consequences for her crimes. Shouldn't there have been at least a few episodes dedicated to Regina facing some real retribution, rather than just the odd apology, usually to characters she needs something from?
But I know I'll never find it if I revert to my old ways, so I'm sorry.
Although she's initially resistant to joining forces with the heroes, Regina is quick to turn away from the path of darkness. We all know that habits, especially ones that have been in progress for over 28 years, are incredibly hard to break. Wouldn't it have made more sense to see her fight a little more for her power post-curse, rather than quit practically cold turkey?
No need for a fuss.
It's just little old me.
Regina, think about what you're doing.
Bug.
Yes, she was doing her best for Henry, but even the most well-intentioned people have slip-ups. It's not like she's opposed to going back to her old tricks when the time calls, only now it's under the guise of helping the good guys.
It's just that magic is the way I've always gotten everything.
It sounds like it's also the way you've lost everything. Regina, this is your chance to start over.
The biggest flaw in Regina's arc is her journey from the evil queen to the good one. One of the things that made Regina a likeable and relatable character is that she showed us what it means to be human. We're not all bad, and we're not all good. We make mistakes, let our emotions get the better of us, and carry baggage that's hard to shake off.
Her baggage, her karma, call it what you want, will always be there.
Her bad side is more extreme than the average person's, but that doesn't mean she can't go through all of the middle ground that the rest of us do. Sometimes the desire to fall back on old familiar habits is just too good to resist. When the Snow Queen's curse takes effect, Regina turns back into her evil self. This isn't just someone being forced to see the bad in others like everyone else. This is full-on evil queen, suggesting that it's still a big part of who she is.
You said no magic. You said you could keep a secret.
Maybe some of her triggers won't be connected to dark magic. Who knows? Eventually, she literally parts with her evil half and even finds the goodness in her, which almost feels like a cop-out.
I'm going to be brave for both of us and choose love over hate.
Rather than turning her back on who she was, a big part of her story could have been Regina reckoning with her history and finding a way to have more belief in herself going forward. Regina once says that the author has essentially decided that once a villain, always a villain. Yet we think that comes from a more internal place.
You're just saying that to hide the real reason that you won't take a chance on love. You don't think you deserve it.
Regina never truly believed that she was worthy of redemption, so she just blamed all of her misfortunes on that. When Robin came along, he helped her see that her past doesn't have to define her, and that she is deserving of forgiveness, acceptance, and a happily ever after. But first, she has to believe it herself.
And I'm a part of you, whether you like it or not. And now I love myself. Which means so should you.
Then they went and took him away. But let's not focus on that right now. Fast forward to the end, more villains have been defeated, the realms are united, and they need someone to reign over them all. Who do they choose? That's right, the queen formerly known as evil, Regina.
All the realms have been united, and now we need someone to lead us.
People have decided. Your Majesty.
On a superficial level, it might seem like a great happily ever after for her. She's on the throne, and she doesn't have to crush anyone's heart for it. The people have finally accepted her as their ruler.
However, if we look back at Regina's backstory, we realise this may not be the right happy beginning for this queen.
This is it. It's your happy ending. No, Miss Swan, not even close. This isn't an ending. I hate endings. Because then your story's done.
As we said, Regina never dreamt of becoming a queen. She didn't even want to marry the king. She just wanted true love.
Your father, King Leopold, he's a kind and fair man. But I don't love him.
However, one thing led to another, and she found herself in a position of great power that snowballed out of control.
And out of your suffering will rise my victory. I shall destroy your happiness, if it is the last thing I do.
It's great that everyone thinks this Regina will rule with compassion and fairness, but they seem to have forgotten the last time she wielded that much power. Also, isn't she going to get a little bit lonely reigning alone while all of her closest allies are off seeking their own adventures? Who's to say she wouldn't eventually become disillusioned with her position?
Especially when she realises it was never what she really wanted.
We get what they're doing here, but this ending doesn't do our Regina justice at all.
It's intolerable.
Nothing to do and nowhere to go. I need freedom. I need options.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
How do we fix it? Regina is one of the most compelling characters because her internal struggles are so relatable.
He seems to have made it a rule that villains don't get happy endings, even if they change, even if they try to be good.
Point him to me. I'd be happy to have more than a conversation.
Do we always make the best decisions? No. But do we hope to learn and grow from them? Absolutely. Regina's story should have explored this journey more deeply.
Instead of the typical heroes versus villains narrative,
Regina's path could have been filled with challenges, setbacks, and growth that see her walk that tricky tightrope between the two.
Storybook has me written as a villain, and villains always lose, so he thought you might have a clue as to who the author is, so I can make him change that.
Her promise to Henry to do better should have shown her stumbling, making mistakes, and learning from them, because that's what being human is all about. After the first curse breaks, Regina should have really faced her past and those she hurt. She needed to do more than just apologize. Expecting everyone to forgive her might be a stretch, but she could show them she's changed.
And I want you to be here because you want to be here, not because I forced you. And not because of magic.
We're not saying she needed to grovel, but she should ask herself, would I forgive me if I was in their shoes? We'd have let Regina explore her villainous side more before jumping over to hero camp.
You wanted to see your queen? Well, my dears, here she is.
Her thirst for power stems from deep-seated pain, grief, rejection, and anger, and those emotions don't just disappear overnight.
And you'll be sent out of Storybrooke for good, and I will never have to see you again. I want to enjoy this while I still can.
Enjoy what?
Justice.
The curse breaking means everyone remembers who they were, but it doesn't magically erase bad feelings. Letting Regina explore these emotions would make more sense than sweeping them under the rug for the sake of the story. At the very least, she and Snow needed a real reckoning.
But whatever it was, Regina, I'm sorry. I truly am.
Apology not accepted.
Please.
Only then would her journey towards becoming a hero feel authentic and less bitter. Instead of the heroes constantly preaching about goodness, they should have been telling Regina, hey, we know you're trying, we know it's hard, but keep doing your best, and don't beat yourself up over the setbacks because even heroes falter. Let's not forget our heroes have blood on their hands too. Still, holding Regina accountable when she slips up is crucial. It's how you learn to do better.
I was always the queen. It was you who added evil to my name.
Good doesn't do what you do. Why? Regina, why go back to being this way after how hard you tried?
And what did it get me?
Regina's story arc could have helped viewers see themselves in her.
Emma, my evil half is gone. I don't know how strong I am. Being evil did not make you strong. Let's do this.
You don't have to be perfect or a hero. You just have to be your best and most real self.
You are not all evil, and I am not all good. Things are not that simple.
We never would have written a storyline where Regina separates and tames her evil half. Instead, she'd acknowledge it as part of her. A messy part, but still part of who she is.
I gave you some of my love. Love from Henry and Robin and the people I care most about. And in return, I'm taking back some of your darkness.
She might have magic, but she's a real person, and real people have flaws. Our Regina would learn that every experience shaped who she is, and without them, she wouldn't be where she is now.
Do you still regret it? Not walking through the door of that tavern all those years ago? If I had, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have Henry or my family or this town.
Instead of trying to fit into the hero or villain box, we would have focused on Regina learning to accept herself as she is, without clinging to who she was or who she thinks she should be. People can be beautiful disasters, and can't be neatly boxed in, not even in a fairy tale world, as the series shows time and time again.
Thanks to the hero Regina's sacrifice, Isaac's villainous work was undone.
Okay, grab the tissues because we're going to talk about Robin. Regina and Robin could have been together earlier, but Regina wasn't ready to open her heart.
The guy with the lion tattoo.
That's him?
Pixie dust doesn't lie. Come on. This is your chance at love and happiness.
As sad as it was, maybe it was necessary because Robin came back into her life at the perfect moment. Now, we're not saying you need a partner to fix you or make you complete, but Robin had a huge impact on Regina.
What do you see in me?
Hopefully the same thing you see in me. A second chance.
With his love, she finally starts to see what we, the audience, saw all along. She's capable of being good. She deserves redemption, and she deserves true love. Regina, with Robin, is the character we would have written.
Robin died to protect me. That's what true love is. It's sacrifice. It's giving up everything for the person you love.
We get it. The writers probably didn't want a man to be responsible for Regina's happiness, but we wouldn't have killed off two of Regina's love interests. Robin's death did show Regina's growth. She didn't react to Zelena the way that she did to Snow White, but still, we would have kept Robin around.
Every time I look at you, I blame you for what happened.
Me? What about Emma? But she dragged you to hell.
Oh, I chose to go, but I trusted you. And because of that, Robin's soul was obliterated.
Not just because they're the cutest together, but because he was a catalyst for Regina's real healing. He told her all the things her hero friends didn't. Regina started her journey of self-love and acceptance because Robin helped her let her guard down. He didn't care about who she was, only who she is, and he showed her that it was okay not to be this perfect beacon of light.
I've tried to live by that code every day of my life.
Then why are you here?
Because today is not one of those days.
After he dies, Regina essentially goes back to feeling like she's a villain who can never find redemption. This brings us to Regina's happy ending.
I thought my story came to an end a long time ago. And then new people came into my life. People who gave me a second chance.
Sure, it's a nice full circle moment when Snow crowns Regina as Queen of the Realms, but what happens next? Regina sits there on her throne, alone, thinking about everything that brought her to this moment. She sighs with relief, knowing she'll likely rule in peace, but then she remembers she only agreed to marry Snow's father after Cora killed Daniel. She wanted to spend her life with Daniel, and now her heart aches for Robin too. She becomes aware that this isn't the life she wanted.
Things might have turned out differently had I chosen you over, well, instead of evil.
You made mistakes, and now you're making up for them.
In our fairy tale, Regina realizes that the love of her people isn't the same as the love she lost. Despite the heartbreak, she decides she has to try to open her heart again. She puts Henry, Snow, or Emma in charge and sets off on a new adventure to find what truly fulfills her. We're not saying it has to be a partner, but it has to be something that feeds her soul and makes her feel as alive as she did with the men she loved.
Inside here lies the beginning of your happiness. All the pain in your past will be just that, the past.
Whether she finds what she's looking for and returns to the throne, or discovers her happy ending elsewhere doesn't matter. What matters is that Regina heals her heart by embracing her true self and opening herself up to a real happy ending.
Fresh start, no baggage. You can let go of all the anger that weighs you down. Go get him.
Okay. Okay, I can do this. I can be happy.
I know you can.
Do you think Regina got the ending she deserved? Let us know in the comments.
A happy beginning, then. I like to call it a second chance.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.